Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. As we look ahead to Gameweek 12's deadline, it's team news time, and I'm joined as ever by Fantasy Football Scout's editor Neale to have a look through the latest press conference developments. Neale, welcome. How are you?
Not too bad, Joe. Yeah, as usual, it's Steve Cooper delaying us from having a full set. So yeah, we've got 19 bits of team news for you, and then hopefully Forest will arrive when we're on air.
Right, yeah. I think I've got most of those. There was a bit of a flurry of team news coming in on social media just now, so I think I've got most of those. Before we go on, just to remind everyone to do press that like button and do subscribe to keep up to date with all our latest videos and podcasts. Also, welcome to those early birds joining us in the live chat. Heather, Mahomey, those who can't play sports, G Wiz, Dennis, Historia Films, Brad, Thomas, Martin, Eunice, and many more. Thanks so much for joining us. So Khan in the chat is pointing out that poor Joe, no Estupinan for him. Well, let's have a look in the team news a bit later for Brighton to see if my dream of getting Estupinan in has been cruelly crushed. Lots of chat already wondering about Nathan Ferguson's fitness. More on that later, obviously, as ever. But thanks so much for joining us. Let's start with Wolves and Tottenham. I put up a tweet saying I'm going to need a bigger boat for Tottenham because there's a lot to say about them. So let's just go with them first. I know they're the wayside, but loads of developments at Spurs.
Yeah, I led with them in the team news article because there's so much to report. Maddison's the biggest news from this morning. He pulled out of the England squad, and Postecoglou's confirmed this lunchtime that he's going to be out until January. So get rid of him if he's in your fantasy team, as he is in mine. He's not alone. Mickey van der Ven is out as well. Same sort of time frame, new year. So 2 medium-term injuries there. Richarlison's out for the next month after undergoing surgery. They've lost 2 players to suspension as well, Udogie and Romero. That's 1 and 3 games respectively for them. And then the longer-term ones, Solomon, Perisic and Sessegnon. 2 bits of good news though, if you can sort of take the silver lining. Davies is back, and they'll probably need him in defence. And Pedro Porro's fine. There was some unsubstantiated rumours that he was a doubt, but he's all right.
I think he hadn't been seen in training or something like
That's
that.
Right.
But I'm a Porro owner, and I'm probably going to be a Porro fielder this week because with Maddison out, even though Spurs' back line is looking very, very shaky because they've lost all their first teamers. There, also we got suspended. You got Doggy, Romero. And it just goes on in terms of the list of problems there. But Porro should be on more set pieces, I think, with Maddison out. So that ups his XA, expected assist. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway against Wolves, because I'm not sure I'm going to get a clean sheet. How about the home side? How are they?
Yeah, Porro, yeah, as you say there, and Kulusevski takes him as well, but he should be on a more of a share anyway.
Okay.
Wolves, still without Hodge, still without Neto, but he could be back in game week 13. O'Neill said this afternoon that it's not a definite guarantee, but I'm hoping so. Bueno is back. Hugo Bueno, he returns to the matchday squad this weekend. They've lost youngster Nathan Fraser. He's got a quad injury, but apart from that, it's pretty quiet.
Okay, right, yeah. Well, let's move on to Arsenal against Burnley. Another North London side. Another bigger boat is going to be needed. Lots to say about Arsenal as well. But can Arteta ever really be trusted with his comments?
No, he cannot. Yeah, I think I mentioned before, one day in a quiet period, I'm going to do a ranking of all 20 managers and how devious they are in press conferences. And he's right up there at the top. So I'll tell you exactly what he said today. And there's a lot to report. Starting with Saka, because I think he's the biggest FPL name. Now, there's even more confusion because Arsenal's website said that he did train on Thursday.
Yes, I saw that.
They've misquoted Arteta. Because I watched this back and he said he didn't train on Thursday.
So which is accurate, knowing that Arteta, let's not mince our words, lies in press conferences.
The double or triple bluffs going on. Yeah, you just don't know what's happening these days with Arteta. He is included in the England squad, which is hopefully a good sign. But no guarantees because you could still pull out. So yeah, Arteta hopeful. He did say he was in quite a lot of pain when he came off on Wednesday night, and he didn't train yesterday.
Okay.
I think yesterday's a recovery day anyway. And Nketiah is obviously flagged as well. He was excluded from Southgate's squad, which has led to a few people thinking he might be injured. Arteta replied this afternoon that it was Southgate's decision rather than injury enforced. But again, can you trust Arteta? Odegaard, who's also flagged, has missed the last 2 in League and Cup. Arteta says he's racing to be fit. He's going to try everything he can to be available. The only players he definitely ruled out were Partey, Timber, and probably Emile Smith-Rowe. So he left Gabriel Jesus off that list as well.
Right.
He has been named in the Brazil squad, which is adding to the sort of uncertainty. Yeah.
Do you think that following what happened with Thomas Partey, his international side said that he was injured, and Arteta threw a bit one of his wobblies about that because it had sort of revealed that the player was injured, and they wanted to be able to control that narrative over the injuries of their players. So do you think he's doing that because Jesus? So Jesus, say Jesus is unavailable, he doesn't want Brazil to reveal that. So he said to Brazil, "Well, look, he's you can put him in your team. Don't reveal that he's injured. It's up to us." Do you think maybe something like that happened?
Well, I think Brazil have got to assess him anyway. So even if it doesn't come out before game week 12, it will emerge during the international break that he's still injured. Brazil will assess him and then send him back if he's not fit. The original timeline was after the international break, and I think I've seen a few unofficial reports saying early December. So I would be amazed if he's featuring this weekend, especially this close to a break.
Yeah.
But Arteta was obviously adding to the intrigue by not mentioning him in the excluded list.
Okay, so I mean, on paper, it's an easy home game against Burnley. However, Arsenal over the years have come a cropper in these easy home games against these minnows. So he won't take any team lightly. I personally think Saka's going to play, and I think if you've got a good bench, he'll either play or he won't play. And that sounds that's not really sitting on the fence. In that, I cannot see Saka coming on off the bench. I think he's either absolutely fine and we got some smoke and mirrors going on, or he really genuinely is injured and won't play at all. So I think as long as you've got a good, strong first sub, I think you should be fine to keep Saka. I don't think he's a sell, though, for me personally. I personally wouldn't.
No.
Own him, keeping him, because we've seen this before. Basically, Saka it's got to be pretty much borderline dead to not play. Hopefully he's not. So that's my take on it anyway. How about Burnley though?
Yeah, a lot quieter and a lot less interest from an FPL perspective as well. This was one of 2 press conferences held yesterday. The other one was Dyche. Benson, Ekdal and Obafemi, they all played for the under-21s last Saturday, so they're nearing returns. Ekdal, I think, has got the best chance of recovering. Cullen's back from a ban. Ramsey, no mention of him. He's been out recently. There was an update on Lyle Foster, who he has been missing in the last few league games. An illness was cited originally, and then there's been more details of that. It's actually a mental health illness. He's getting specialist treatment for that. So I assume he's not going to be seen for some time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that does put some clarity over that, because we did see that he was ill for a couple of weeks ago, and so the assumption was perhaps a cold or something. So, but yes, it's much more serious than that and more long term. So, sort of watch this space with it when he returns, and wish him well. Crystal Palace against Everton. Nathan Ferguson, I presume, is unavailable again, but there is better news amongst Palace ranks, I believe.
Yeah, following hot on the heels of Eze, who came back last weekend and is unscathed from last week. Elise is back. He's in training and he's going to be involved in the squad this weekend, almost certainly as a substitute, I would think, as Eze was last week. So, he's back. Decore is fine as well. So he had a minor problem in midweek, and he's come through and has returned to training. So that's good news as well. So I think the only ones who are sidelined, apart from Ferguson, are Henderson, Tompkins, and Raksaki, who's the latest addition to that list.
Okay, and as for Everton, there's a few sort of questionables, I would say, here.
There is, and a few we weren't aware of previously were doubts. It does sound very positive on all 3. So this is Onana, Branthwaite, who's going to be in a few teams, I think, as a 4 million defender, and Abdoulaye Doucouré. They've all trained as of Thursday. Doucouré was ill, Branthwaite was carrying a knock, and Onana missed out last weekend with a tight calf, but they've all trained, so I think that's going to be all right. Coleman he's injury free, but he's playing with the under-21s at the moment.
Okay.
He's had 2 run-outs. I think Dyche was implying that this game will come too soon for him, but he'll soon be back in the squad after the international break. I think that just leaves Dele Alli and Andre Gomez out.
Okay, over 600 of you in the live chat, but just under 100 have pressed that like button there. So do press that like button. Gee-whiz in the live chat, stirring people on. I think we've only got a few more to go to get to 100, but do keep pressing that like button. Even when we surpass, hopefully, fingers crossed, that 100 mark, we can keep carrying on. Keep pressing that like button. Press it until Nathan Ferguson comes back, which may be forever. Okay, Manchester United versus Luton. Manchester United, once again, a lot to say about Manchester United. A lot of injuries.
Yeah, only one that's new, I think, and that's Johnny Evans. So he came off on Wednesday night. Whenever they were playing, was it Tuesday against Copenhagen, and he's going to be out of this one. They're still assessing the severity of it, but he's not going to feature in game week 12. So already out are Shaw, Malacia, Diallo, and Sancho for disciplinary reasons. Casemiro and Martinez, Ten Hag said earlier in the week that they're going to be out for the rest of this calendar year. So we're not going to see them before game week 20.
Okay, and as for Luton as well, so they want to be well prepared for this. Could be a chance to meet Manchester United, but are they in fine fettle for this?
You could see it happening, couldn't you? You could see the final nail in Ten Hag's.
Yes.
Really, yeah. So they are, pretty good. I think the 6 that were out last week are still out. Berry, Potts, Anderson, Bell, Burke, and Lokonga. The only addition to that injury list is someone who's barely featured anyway. That's Coley Woodrow.
Okay.
Budget forward, he wasn't getting much of a look.
Yeah, I think Coley Woodrow was on penalties in the Championship last season.
They got 2, yeah. It was him and Adebayo, and they both missed. And I think Morris took one after that, and he's sort of sealed the deal there, and he's on them now. But he wasn't actually first in line last season, but for quite a while.
Okay, thanks so much for everyone who pressed the like button. About 60 of you, since I last mentioned it, have pressed that like button. Thanks a lot. Do keep pressing that like button. Do like us. Thanks so much to G-Wiz, who's been G'ing everyone up in the live chat about this. Okay, Bournemouth against Newcastle. Let's start with the home side first, because there will be some interesting news from Newcastle, I'd imagine, as well, about because they're popular with teams. But let's go with the home side first. What's the latest from Bournemouth?
Yeah, one addition to the injury list, and that is Alex Scott, who he's got another knee injury, not as serious as the last one, but still could be out for, I think, around about 7-8 weeks. So he's injured. Adams, Ferrix, Marconde still out. We assume Randolph as well, who's had a health issue. Neto's back, not the one everyone wants, but the Bournemouth goalkeeper. He's back in training, so he could be back between the sticks. And Lewis Cook is available again after a 3-match ban. Okay,
and as for Newcastle as well, a lot of defenders, a lot of injured defenders in teams. Is anyone coming back, and what's the latest with their strikers as well?
Yeah, my word, this is a bit of an undertaking trying to talk you through this. So the longer term ones: Barnes, Jacob Murphy, Elliot Anderson, Matt Targett, Dan Burn, of course, who got injured last weekend. They're longer terms. We're talking weeks and months for those. Bruno's banned for 1 match after yellow card accumulation, and Tonali's obviously out long term with his ban.
Right, yeah.
Manquillo and the other Murphy, Alex, they're sidelined as well. Botman and Isak, sounds like they're still out. Botman's been away in the Netherlands getting specialist treatment. Frustratingly for Lascelles owners or prospective owners, not a real concrete update on Botman. The last we heard, I think in game week 11, was that they were biding their time to see if he needed knee surgery. So he's been away in the Netherlands. Howe's going to see him today, and then maybe we'll find out more during the international break. But can't give you any guarantees that Botman isn't going to return soon or if he's going to be out longer. Isak is running, but won't return until after the international break. Should be game week 13 by the sounds of it. Wilson was the fresh concern from Dortmund. He came off with hamstring tightness. Predictably from Howe, he didn't give us anything really useful. They're doing tests. He has been called up for England, which is hopefully a good sign that it's not too bad. But Howe said they're going to have to see how he performs in training, whether he's going to feature or not.
Okay, so if he doesn't feature, Anthony Gordon would be up front, you would imagine.
He certainly will, yeah. I'm pretty confident of that. Joe Linton's obviously another option as well, but I think his services will be needed in midfield or maybe on the left flank at a push. But yeah, Gordon through the middle, we've seen it in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
We saw it last weekend. And
Yeah.
that's how Gordon actually scored his goal against Arsenal
Yeah.
when Wilson had just been subbed off. Gordon went up front and scored within minutes. So yeah, a good old punt, I think, for this week is Anthony Gordon.
Yes, I do wish I'd got him in on my wild card a few weeks ago. Although he hadn't done so well at that time, I think his owners, he's a definite keep, but his owners will be reaping those rewards now. And also, if you want to get a sort of downgrade a midfielder.
Maddison,
for example. Maddison to Gordon, I think, is a really good shout at the moment because Gordon will still keep playing either up front or on the wing.
I'll bring you another quote actually from Howe on Harvey Barnes because he is Gordon's positional rival.
Oh, okay.
He did say that he's on schedule. He started running. He did say he probably won't be too far away after the international break, but not immediately.
Okay.
So I think he got injured in September 24th, and it was around about 3 months. So we still might have some time, but that sounds like he's maybe slightly ahead of schedule.
Okay.
So maybe early to mid-December he might be back. So it'll still take him a while to get up to speed. So I wouldn't be unduly concerned if you're a Gordon owner just yet.
Righty-o. Nearly 800 of you in the live chat at the moment. Just one more like to get to 200. There he is. There is. Thanks so much, whoever was who just liked us. Then thanks so much for that. Keep pressing the like button. I will soldier on, even though someone's banging on my door at the moment. It's probably someone with a delivery, but I'm just going to ignore them because this takes news. This team news takes precedent over whatever delivery is coming my way. Aston Villa against Fulham. What's the latest from Villa?
Yeah, Matty Cash is fine. He came back. He was flagged. I mean, we have to Gameweek 11, but he returned last night against Alkmaar and was nicely rested, actually, hopefully for the weekend. They've still got, obviously, Mings and Buendia out long term. Ramsey, I think, is close to retraining, but he'll not be available before the break. John Duran's back as well. Diego Carlos is the one concern from last night. Occasional starter at centre-half, mostly back up this season. He came off with a minor injury, but it's minor enough to make it difficult for him to play this weekend. Okay, and for Fulham as well, they did have temporarily an exciting new forward, but is he going to play? Yeah, that dream's died a death, unfortunately. Rodrigo Muniz, who started last weekend, I think was he 4.4 at the time when he started? Picked up an knee injury, and now he's out for 3 to 4 weeks, so we won't see him anytime soon. Diop's still out, but they've got a trio who are nearing a comeback. Tosin, Adama Traore and Kenny Tete. They could be on the bench this weekend. They're going to have a late assessment on them. Okay, rightio. Let's move on to Brighton against Sheffield United. Brighton, another team. This is going to be lengthy as well. What has De Zerbi been saying? There's been all sorts of developments from the Ajax game, haven't there? Which Brighton, of course, won 2-0 last night. Yeah, Scout picks carnage because we had Dunk originally in the Scout picks, and then we were going to have a Stupinan as a deputy. Both of them aren't going to feature now by the looks of it. No. So they all picked up injuries last night against Ajax. Stupinan making his comeback as a substitute lasted, 12 minutes? Oh, I know. And was off again. De Zerbi wasn't unduly concerned last night. I think when he was interviewed after the game, didn't think they were too serious, but he isn't expecting any of them to feature this weekend against Sheffield United. So you've got, obviously, on top of that, March, Welbeck and Cizzo on the longer term list, and Cizzo's making good progress. Lamptey was back last week, wasn't he? He was past fit, and then all of a sudden he's out again. I know, he got injured by just even the mention of playing. It's just he's approaching Ferguson territory, isn't he, for injuries? And then you've got Jakub Moder, of course, who is injury free, but he's a long way, I think, off full match fitness. So a lot of problems for De Zerbi, and of course he likes to look at minutes as well, played from Europe. So there'll be a few changes this weekend. Might go back to the wing back system, Joe, because you haven't got many fullbacks left. Have you? Veltman's the only last man standing. Yeah, it could do. I mean, Matoma and Adingra. I mean, Adingra did great last night. Scored and got an assist. Yeah. I would imagine they will both play either on the wing or as you said, a wing backs, which is basically wingers for Brighton. So it's very possible he could go for Van Heck, Webster and Igor. Julio Igor as a back three. He could also feel Veltman somewhere in the full back.
Pascal Gross can, of course, play there as well, so he might do something like that. I would say it's a given that Ferguson is going to start, though, because I think he was a sub in Europe, and the Zerbi seems to prefer Pedro and Fati up front in Europe. So if you're looking for a striker punt this week, Ferguson is playing Sheffield United. Let that sink in. And if you've got a space for a new striker, I would go for him this week. This is the week to get him. Oh, no, I forgot Sheffield United, actually, before I move on to Liverpool-Brentford. Sheffield United. Now, I didn't see anything new from them, so what is the latest?
I mean, this is fresh off the press. This was about 2:57 when I saw this come through, just before we went on air. So, Brewster's injured again. He came off last weekend, and he's ruled out of this one. I think it's too serious, but won't feature. They might have McBurney back. Him and Ahmed Hodzic and Max Lowe have all trained this week, and they're all touch and go. So they might not take a risk, but McBurney's nearly back. And they've still got a few out. So that's Egan, Tom Davies, Basham, Norrington Davis, and Jefferson. They're all still there.
Rightio. Okay, let's go to Liverpool-Brentford then. I don't think we didn't get anything today from Jurgen Klopp, but we have had something during the week, haven't we, from Liverpool about injuries?
Yeah, I think this is a hangover from last night, where the press conference is always a bit weird when a team's been in Europe. So nothing fresh from Klopp, but he did give us, as you said there, a comprehensive update on, I think it was Wednesday. So Robertson's still out. The rest of them are mostly concerned in central midfield. So McAllister's suspended.
Yep.
Jones is out with a low-grade hamstring injury, but enough to keep him out of this one. Then there's a long-term ones like Bajcetic and Thiago, they're out. Gravenberg is a doubt as well with a knee problem. Klopp was kind of talking more in terms of him being available after the international break, so they might not risk him. Aside from that, Van Dijk should be fine. He missed out on Thursday with illness. But a lot of injuries in central midfield. And Klopp even said this afternoon in one quote of note from that press conference that he could play Alexander-Arnold in midfield. Now, of course, he inverts there anyway, but I think he's talking about more as a starting position in midfield. So that's one possibility.
Okay. Tsimikas was substituted. Now, he's in my team. I foolishly got him in last week. He was hooked. And Klopp didn't seem too impressed with him in Europe.
No, he was culpable for that first goal, I think, for Toulouse. Was hooked as part of a triple change. I don't think it was energy preserving. It seemed to be trying to get them back in the game because the likes of Salah came on, Trent as well.
Yep.
I'm worried. I bought him a couple of weeks ago on my wild card as well. Didn't start last week again. Gomez didn't pull up any trees, but the fact that it's Brentford as well, and Gomez having a bit of aerial prowess, he can help at set plays. I'm concerned about Tsimikas now, and I don't think he'll start. And he's now on my chopping block. I might keep him for 1 week because I've got three to field. I've got Lascelles who can come in and start. So I might just see the lay of the land, but he's definitely on my sell list now.
I was going to start him, but he's going to stay on my bench now because as we were talking about Porro earlier, he could be on more set pieces. So Porro comes into my first 11, and Tsimikas is banished to the bench as he is in real life, perhaps. Brentford. There was concern about Mark Flecken. He came off with a dead leg in the last match, but is he okay?
Yeah, unfortunately for Strakosha runners like myself, Flecken is fine. It was, as you say, just a dead leg. Nothing serious, and he's all right to feature this weekend. Shandon Baptiste could be involved as well. He's a central midfielder. He could be back. He's been out for a while, but he's played for the B team. They are getting close to getting some players back, actually. Lewis Potter and De Silva have made a part return to training this week. Probably comes too soon, but Gameweek 13 should be in contention. Same with Damsgaard. He's just a little bit far behind them. The longer-term ones are Hickey, Kevin Schade, Rico Henry, and the suspended Ivan Toney.
Rightio. Final two coming up. We've got West Ham against Nottingham Forest. So once again, I didn't get any Nottingham Forest news in time, but let's go with West Ham first. What's the latest there?
You're pretty quiet. So they're going to get Paqueta and Alvarez back from suspension. They were banned domestically last weekend. Zuma is the only flag player now, I think. He has been out since the beginning of November. Didn't feature last night. Moyes didn't have anything new to report, really. He delivered his press conference this morning, and that was like less than 12 hours after full time against Olympiacos. So he didn't have hadn't seen the physio yet, hadn't seen his squad come in yet. So he said he's hopeful. I think he's made some progress and trained a little bit, but he said that last week and he missed out. So I wouldn't hold my breath.
And as for Forest?
Yeah, this is the only team we haven't got, and this was because Cooper was down for I think 2:00 or 2:30, and whenever you see that time, you've got to add on an hour or two. So I have not seen it. I'm just quickly checking a couple of. Oh, here we go. Fresh Sarah Clapson, who's the Nottingham Forest correspondent from Nottingham Post. Let me click on that link to see what's happening. I think it concerns Hudson and So Wood, Origi, Montiel, and Felipe, they've been absent of late. Cooper suggested they're making positive strides. I'm quoting verbatim here from that article. And they've all been in training. The only player not involved in training was Hudson-Odoi, who, he was out of a term with that hamstring injury. So, pretty good from Forest.
Okay, rightio. Actually, I mean, given West Ham's defensive form, actually quite a good game for Forest. So, if you've got a Forest player, and it amongst those ones we've just mentioned, they could play. And a big clash here: Chelsea against Man City. Can Chelsea destroy Man City's season like they've destroyed Spurs's? What's the latest from Chelsea?
Yeah, quiet on the injury front. I think the 6 that were ruled out last week are still ruled out. So it's Chilwell, Lavia, Nkunku, Fofana, Chalobah, and Chukwuemeka. Nkunku and Lavia are making good progress, actually. It sounds like they're pretty close. I think that means Broja's could be involved. He was mentioned as a possibility last Monday as well.
Right.
He's just had knee irritation, so he could be involved in the squad. But I didn't hear anything fresh. There was praise from Poch for Palmer as well, who's been performing very well of late.
Okay, before we move on to Man City, John William in the live chat asks if I'm off to see Cheltenham again. I am indeed tomorrow. I'm going to see Cheltenham take on Wigan, and so hope the Robins win there. Especially after last weekend, I saw Yeovil beat Gateshead, so I'm on a lower leagues tour of the West Country, and may that continue, and may they do well. Man City, what's the latest there?
That was the team news derby, that Yeovil v Gateshead. That's where I'm from.
Oh, is it?
Well, that is.
Well, I mean, Well, Gateshead were pretty good actually. Yeovil were better.
Yeah, they've lost Mike Williamson. It was a very good boss of Gateshead. Yeah. I digress. I'm sure many people aren't interested in the Gateshead.
The lower league chats.
Yeah, Man City aren't more pressing matters. So De Bruyne, we know, is out, of course. Still a long way from a return. Sergio Gomez as well. He's out. John Stones is the fresh concern for midweek. So not as serious as the first thought. He is still going to be out of this one. Won't feature in Game Week 12. Pep doesn't know yet if he's going to be back for that Liverpool game, the crunch match in Game Week 13. But he did say it wasn't as bad as he had feared. And in more positive news, Akanji is fine. He pulled out of that starting 11 against Young Boys, like with a back injury, but he's fine. He's trained and he's trained good going to Pep.
Righty. Okay, well, let's have a look at this roundup. So there's a few teams that I couldn't put in because they came in just as I was preparing this. So fit to play. Got the early part. The good news for the Spurs, but Davis and Porro are fit to play for Spurs. Akanji is fit, as we just heard from Man City. Elise's back for Crystal Palace. Flecken's recovered from his dead leg. And Moreno is back, is fit to play, so could threaten Luca Dean's place, perhaps. Questionable Zuma at West Ham. Got an injury. Wilson at Newcastle, that could see Gordon up front. Branthwaite is one of a number of questionable at Everton alongside Decore. That's important because Everton against Crystal Palace screams Decore winner if there ever was one. And Saka, Nketiah, Odegaard, Jesus are subject to Arteta's smoke and mirrors. Will they play? Won't they play? It is absolutely impossible to say. I would say that Saka's either going to start or is not going to play at all. Because he tends to be flogged to death. Gravenberch at Liverpool is also questionable with a knee issue. Major doubts, that's where Brighton take over. Estupinan came on for 12 minutes, came straight off again as a sub against Ajax. He is a fresh injury doubt after just recovering. Dunk is a doubt as well, so is Milner. They're major doubts. They're unlikely to play. I think he said unlikely to play. That's why I haven't put them totally in the out column. But they pretty much aren't going to play. The out column is pretty big. Romero, Doggy at Spurs are suspended. as is McAllister at Liverpool. Botman has still got his injury, so he's going to be out. He's having treatment in the Netherlands. Maddison is out for months, not weeks, so do remove him from your team for the moment if you have him. Foster at Burnley, he's got that mental health issue. He's going to keep him out for a while. Isak is injured. He won't be back until after the international break. Van der Ven, problems mounting up for Spurs, hamstring issue. He's going to be out for a while. Richarlison's had surgery. I think he's out for 4 weeks. Muniz for Fulham, his knee problems going to keep him out, which is a shame. Stones, as we just heard from Man City, is out. Evans, a fresh injury doubt, and Manchester United, quite a few on the long-term list there. I don't know if Evans is long-term or short-term, but he's definitely out. Lamptey was back, but even the mere hint of being back left him injured. So he is now red flagged, not playing. We don't know when he's coming back. He's sitting on my bench, and he's sitting on a number of Game Week 8 wildcarders benches as well, I imagine. And I think that's all the roundup news that I have there. Neil, thanks a lot for joining me. Thanks a lot everyone who's been joining us in the live chat. You made it a lot of fun with all your comments and all your pressing of the like button as well. Thanks a lot for that. Until next week, Neil. See you then.
See you later. Thanks, everybody.